Okay, so we're diving deep today into something a lot of you have been requesting. Idioms.
Yes.
We got a ton of suggestions to take a closer look at the article 30 Idioms for Emotions from June 30th of last year, 2024, by Jason Downs.
Good.
And I think it's a fantastic topic because, you know, we all use them, but we don't often stop to think about, you know, how they work and why they're so effective at communicating our feelings.
Exactly. And I think what the article does really well is it highlights just how colorful and concise these phrases can be when we're trying to, you know, get across what we're feeling inside.
Absolutely.
So as the article sort of kicks off, it reminds us that idioms are these unique terms of phrase where you can't always understand the meaning just from looking at the individual words, right? It's not like, you know, reading a straightforward sentence. They really paint a picture. And often they express those emotions in a way that's more engaging and memorable than just saying, you know, I'm happy or I'm sad. Think about, like, you know, classic examples, like saying you're on cloud 9 when something amazing happens.
Exactly.
Or you're feeling blue when you're down.
Yes.
That's those kind of linguistic shortcuts we're going to unpack today.
Yeah, those are the ones that we're going to explore.
Exactly.
Well, by the time we're done here, you know, folks should walk away with a really good grasp of some of the most common emotion idioms out there. And you know, our hope is that by kind of shining a light on these, you'll start to see how weaving them into your own conversations can add real depth and vibrancy to the way you express yourself.
I love that.
And often, you know, much more efficiently than trying to give some lengthy explanation.
Exactly. It's like it's like emotional shorthand.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a shortcut to conveying complex feeling.
I love it.
So why don't we jump right in to some of the expressions for when you know things are really looking bright. The idioms for happiness and joy.
All right, let's do it.
So the article kicks off with over the moon. You know, it means being extremely happy or delighted.
So the example they give is when I got an A+ on my test. I was over the moon.
Yeah, and it really does give you that sense of pure elation.
It does, doesn't it?
Like you're just floating with happiness.
It's that like weightless feeling almost.
Yes, exactly. And then we've got, you know, jump for joy.
Yeah, that one's pretty clear.
Yeah, that one's pretty self-explanatory. To be so happy or excited that you literally, you know,
you just got to jump
up and down. And the example the article uses is kids jumping for joy when school is canceled.
Oh, of course.
I mean,
we've all been there.
We can all relate to that, right? That burst of energy and excitement.
Yeah, it's that outward, you know, physical manifestation of just overwhelming joy.
Yes. And then sort of along the same lines, we have walking on air. Meaning, you know, feeling extremely happy.
Happy or elated. Right. And they give the example of receiving a surprise gift. And feeling that way. It's that
lightness and giddiness.
Yes. It's almost like, you know, gravity has no effect on you. You're just floating.
You're just gliding around. And what's interesting to me here is how many of these early happiness idioms use this idea of being physically lifted or elevated to represent that positive emotional state.
Yeah, you've hit on something there. I think it's almost like happiness literally makes us feel lighter.
Yes.
Like those burdens we carry around that get lifted.
Exactly. It's like a weight has been lifted. Okay, so then we have a couple cloud-based idioms. We've got on cloud 9.
Of course.
And it's close relative on cloud 7. Both meaning, you know, extremely happy. Euphoric. The example the article gives for on cloud 9 is the science fair winner. And then for on cloud 7, someone getting a puppy.
Oh, that's cute.
But it's the same.
It's the same feeling, isn't it?
It's the same sense of blissful contentment. Just a slightly different numerical destination, I guess, for this guy.
Exactly. Which is interesting that both Cloud 9 and Cloud 7 signify that same intense happiness. It makes you wonder, like, where did these phrases come from? You know? Is it possible that one was a variation that just kind of stuck? You know, it shows how language can sometimes have these seemingly interchangeable forms that just persist over time.
That's fascinating to think about.
It is.
And then rounding out this group of joyful idioms, we have in seventh heaven.
All right.
To describe someone who's, extremely happy.
Extremely happy or joyful.
Joyful.
Like Emily after winning the spelling bee.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, we're back to this idea of being in this higher perfect place.
Yes.
To capture that feeling of intense happiness.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if we look at, all of these happiness idioms together.
Right.
We've got over the moon, jump for joy, walking on air.
On cloud nine.
On cloud nine, on cloud seven.
In seventh heaven.
In seventh heaven. That recurring motif of elevation is really striking.
Right.
It's like whether it's above the earth or amongst the clouds or in some celestial realm.
Yeah.
It really emphasizes that feeling of being lifted out of the ordinary.
Right.
By extreme joy.
Yes. It's like you're being transported to another place.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder if that shared imagery across these phrases actually strengthens the feeling that they convey.
It probably does. I mean, it's that repetition of a similar concept that really drives it home. Okay, well, as the saying goes, what goes up must come down.
Yeah.
So let's turn our attention to the idioms that the article presents for sadness and depression.
All right.
So first up, we have down in the dumps.
Right, which means feeling sad or depressed.
Right.
And the example they use of Sarah after losing her favorite toy, I think is something we can all relate to.
Absolutely.
That heavy, low feeling.
Yeah, it's that feeling of dejection, like all the air has been let out of you.
And the article also mentions just in the dumps.
Oh, right.
As having the same meaning.
Right.
They illustrate that with Tom after failing his test.
Right.
So it kind of shows how even slight variations in phrasing can carry that same emotional weight.
Right. That's a good point. It doesn't have to be exactly the same words.
Yeah.
But it still evokes that same feeling.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And of course, we can't forget feeling blue.
Oh, yes. The classic.
Right. Which the article actually highlights in the introduction as a classic idiom for sadness.
Right.
I mean, we hear that one all the time.
All the time.
And it's so evocative, right?
It is.
It paints this picture of melancholy, like the world has lost its vibrancy.
It's like everything's just kind of washed out.
Yeah, it's like you're looking at everything through a blue filter.
Yeah.
It's interesting how colors can be so strongly associated with emotions.
It is, isn't it? And it makes you think.
Right.
Feeling blue is so common in Western cultures.
Right.
But, I wonder if other languages use different color associations.
That's a great point.
To express sadness or other feelings.
Yeah. Are there other cultures that associate red with sadness or green with happiness?
Exactly.
I mean, that's something to ponder.
Yeah, it really highlights how, cultural understanding can be embedded within these seemingly simple phrases.
Right. They're not just about the words themselves. They're about the cultural context.
Exactly.
Okay, moving on, we have cry one's eyes out.
Okay.
Meaning to cry excessively.
To cry excessively or uncontrollably.
Uncontrollably.
Yeah.
Right. And the example the article uses is Sarah when her dog passed away. And it's such a powerful and visceral image of deep grief.
Yeah, it's that real physical manifestation of profound sorrow.
Yeah, you can just picture it.
Yeah.
Then we have cry over spilled milk.
Right.
Which isn't about the act of crying itself.
It's about more about that dwelling on past mistakes or losses.
It's about that inability to let go of something.
Yeah.
And the example they give is, telling a friend not to cry over spilled milk after losing a toy.
Right.
Which is a good reminder about the importance of perspective.
Yeah.
And letting go of what can't be changed.
Exactly. Sometimes you just got to move on.
Right. Exactly. You can't dwell on the past.
Nope.
So when we look at all of these sadness idioms together, down in the dumps, feeling blue, cry one's eyes out, cry over spilled milk, we see a whole spectrum of sadness.
We do, don't we?
Don't we? There's that general low mood of being, in the dumps or feeling blue to the intense grief of crying your eyes out.
Yes.
And then that more reflective sadness of dwelling on the past.
Yes.
With crying over spilled milk.
Yeah, it's fascinating how those different idioms can signal varying degrees of, that broader emotion of sadness.
Right. So they're not all created equal.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's move on to some of those more agitated feelings.
Okay.
Nervousness and anxiety.
Oh, yeah. Those are the ones I think a lot of us can identify with.
Yeah, I think we've all been there.
Yeah, for sure.
So first up, we have on pins and needles.
Okay.
Which describes that feeling of being nervous or anxious.
Often when you're anticipating something.
Right. Often when you're waiting for something to happen.
Yes.
They use the example of Jenny waiting for her audition results.
Yeah.
And I mean, anyone who's been in that situation of waiting for some important news knows that restless, tense feeling.
It's awful, isn't it?
It's the worst. And that image of being surrounded by sharp points really captures that uncomfortable, edgy feeling of anticipation and anxiety.
Yeah, and then we have butterflies in my stomach.
Oh, yes.
Which is that feeling you get right in your gut.
Right, in your stomach. That nervous,
anxious feeling.
Yeah. They give the example of Sarah before her speech.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've all had that, right? Oh, absolute classic example.
That fluttery, uneasy sensation.
Yeah. And it's so interesting how that idiom points to that gut-brain connection that we often experience with anxiety.
Right. It's not just in your mind.
Yeah.
It's in your body, too.
Exactly.
And I think what makes these two idioms on pins and needles and butterflies in my stomach so effective is how they tap into those physical sensations that so often go hand in hand with nervousness.
It's like you can almost feel it.
Yes, exactly. You can just you can feel it in your body just hearing the phrase.
It's that mind-body connection that language so effectively captures.
That's powerful.
It is.
Okay, so let's talk about when those nervous feelings might escalate into something with a bit more heat.
Oh, yeah.
Anger.
Let's talk about anger.
The article gives us some pretty strong idioms for this one.
It does.
First up, hit the ceiling.
Which means to become extremely angry or upset.
Yeah, that's a powerful one.
Right.
Like full-on rage.
Right, and they give the example of Jack finding out his toy was broken.
Oh, no.
And hitting the ceiling.
Yeah.
You can just picture that sudden, explosive outburst of frustration.
Yeah, it's like you just completely lose it.
Right, it's like a volcano erupting.
Yeah.
And then we have make one's blood boil.
Oh, that's a good one.
Meaning to make someone extremely angry or upset.
Yeah.
Right. They use the example of the unfair treatment of animals causing that reaction in Sarah.
Right.
And it's such a vivid image of internal anger.
Right.
Right. It's that feeling of
it's like your blood is literally boiling.
It's like you're simmering with fury.
Yes. And then
lastly, for anger, we have up in arms, meaning to be angry
or outraged about something.
And the example they give is the students being up in arms about new school rules.
Yeah, like a protest.
Yeah, right, exactly. A collective sense of anger and protest.
Yeah, what's really striking about all three of these anger idioms, hit the ceiling, make all the blood boil up in arms, is the intensity they convey.
Yes.
They're not messing around. This is serious anger.
Bro, they're not just mildly irritated. They're experiencing a strong, often explosive level of anger.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the receiving end of that.
No, you don't.
And it makes you think about how different idioms can signal varying degrees of an emotion.
Yeah, like a scale.
Right, exactly. Like there's a whole spectrum of anger represented.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've covered, the main emotional bases here.
We have the big ones.
The big ones: happiness, sadness, anger.
Yes.
But the article also delves into
idioms for other emotions and situations that carry emotional weight.
Yes.
So let's dive into some of those.
Okay, let's do it.
First up, wear one's heart on one's sleeve.
Oh, yeah.
Which describes someone
who openly shows their emotions or feelings.
Right. They're not hiding anything.
Right. They're transparent.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The example they give is Sally.
Right.
Always expresses how she feels.
Right. She's just putting it all out there.
She's an open book.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to a kind of emotional transparency there, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like you're not afraid to be vulnerable.
Exactly.
And let people see your true feelings.
Whether they're good or bad.
Exactly.
You're just putting it all out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then we have at the end of one's rope.
Oh, yeah.
Meaning to be at the limit.
at your limit.
Of your patience or resources?
Yeah, that feeling of just being completely stretched thin.
Yes.
Mentally, emotionally.
Right.
Physically.
Physically, yeah, you're just done.
Yeah.
And they use the example of Sarah struggling with that math problem.
Right.
I mean, we've all been there.
Oh, we've all been there, haven't we?
Where it's like, I can't
anymore.
I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm at the end of my rope.
I give up. Yeah.
And then we have, in stark contrast to that, we have
cool as a cucumber.
Cool as a cucumber, meaning to remain calm and composed.
Especially in stressful situations.
Right, like when everything's going crazy around you.
Yeah.
The example they use is Sarah.
Okay.
During the fire alarm.
Right.
And she's just...
Totally unfazed.
Totally unfazed.
Yeah.
Cool as a cucumber.
That's the kind of person you want around in an emergency.
That's the person you want by your side.
Yeah, for sure.
It suggests a real absence of strong negative emotion.
Like they're not panicking?
They're not panicking, even though things are chaotic.
They're just cool.
They're just cool, calm and collected.
Yeah, I admire those people.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And then we have, kick oneself.
Oh, yeah.
Which means to regret.
Regret or feel remorseful about something.
Yeah.
It's that feeling of... If only I had done things differently.
Right.
And they give the classic example of not studying harder for a test.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's that...
It's like beating yourself up.
Yeah, it's that self-directed negative emotion.
Yeah.
That feeling of, if only I had made a different choice.
Exactly.
Okay, so then the article shifts gears a little bit.
Okay.
And it talks about idioms.
Okay.
With figurative meanings.
Okay.
That are related to social interactions.
Social interactions, okay.
Which often have significant emotional undercurrents.
They do, don't they?
Right.
Yeah, because, so much of how we interact with others involves is about emotions.
Yeah.
So first up, we have break the ice.
Oh, yeah.
Which means to initiate conversation.
Right.
Or ease tension. In a social setting, right?
That's a good one.
And they give the example of playing a game at a party.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect example of how to, kind of shift the emotional atmosphere to something more relaxed. More welcoming.
Yeah. It's all about creating a more comfortable and open environment.
Open environment for people to connect.
Yeah.
Then we have bury the hatchet.
Oh, yeah.
Which means...
To make peace.
Or
reconcile.
Reconcile with someone after a disagreement.
Right. After a conflict.
It's that conscious decision to move on from the conflict.
Yeah.
Which is so important for resolving negative emotions and maintaining relationships.
It's crucial, isn't it?
It's absolutely crucial.
For keeping those connections healthy?
Right. If you don't bury the hatchet, you're just going to...
It's going to fester.
It's going to fester.
Yeah.
And it's going to poison the relationship.
Absolutely.
Then we have butter someone up.
Okay.
Meaning to flatter or praise excessively.
Right. Often with an ulterior motive.
Right. You're not just being nice.
No, you want something.
Yeah. They use the example of John complimenting his teacher.
Right.
Which is, a classic example.
Trying to get on the teacher's good side.
Right. Trying to get a better grade.
Yeah.
And it shows how positive emotions can sometimes be strategically employed in social maneuvering.
Like manipulation almost.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we have the flip side of that.
Right.
Rub someone the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
Meaning to irritate or annoy someone.
Right.
Not necessarily intentionally.
No, not always.
Right.
Sometimes it's just
a personality clash.
Yeah.
They give the example of Sarah's tapping bothering her classmates.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all been there.
We haven't we?
Right. Where we've either been the one doing the tapping or the one being annoyed by it. Right. And it's about unintentionally causing negative feelings in someone.
It's those little things.
Yeah, it's the little things.
Yeah, that can
drive you crazy.
Oh, I know.
Right. Okay. So then the article moves on to idioms related to handling consequences.
Okay.
So we have face the music.
Oh, yeah.
Which means to accept the consequences.
Right, to accept responsibility.
For your actions,
yeah.
Right, you got to own up to what you did.
Yeah.
And they use the example of Sarah.
Okay.
Knowing she had to tell her parents about the broken vase.
Right.
Right, so it's that oh, that moment of truth.
Moment of truth.
Yeah.
Where you know you can't avoid.
Can't hide.
What's coming.
Yeah, the truth will come out.
The truth will come out.
Yeah.
And then we have throw in the towel.
Okay.
Meaning to give up or surrender.
Yeah, to admit defeat.
Right.
Yeah.
The example they use is Sarah giving up on fixing the broken toy.
Right.
And it can be linked to, feelings of frustration. Discouragement. Defeat. Yeah, like I've tried everything.
Right.
It's not working.
I'm done.
I'm done. I'm throwing in the towel.
Yeah. And then finally, the article briefly touches on idioms related to well-being and demise.
Well-being and demise. Okay.
Interesting combination.
It is an interesting combination.
Yeah.
So starting with the positive.
Okay.
We have feel like $1 million.
Oh, yeah.
Meaning to feel
amazing.
Very healthy and energetic.
Yes, just full of life. Right.
Yeah.
The example they use is waking up.
Okay.
Feeling fantastic after a good night's sleep.
Right.
Feeling of,
like you can conquer the world.
You're
on top of your game.
You're ready to go.
Yeah. I love that feeling.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, the demise end of the spectrum, we have kick the bucket.
Oh, yeah. Hose.